What is up, everybody? Welcome. It's Saturday night's main event, back and better than ever. Old school style right here with the aesthetic, except the portholes, Tone. We never had the portholes before. Not since the Google Hangouts days that we had the portholes. We were just talking about Google Hangouts off air. How you doing, brother?
I'm good. I'm good. Great to be back. Started a new job, so it's been kind of hard to, join these streams, but I did earn the new moniker, Mr. Part-Time, and I'm very proud of it. Yeah, first time on a stream with the portholes, and I think that makes all the difference. I think Gap After Dark agrees. How are you doing, Gap? We see you out there in the chat.
Yes,
Hope you're
sir.
having a great Saturday.
Good to see you, Gap. Welcome. Yeah, we haven't done a Saturday night's main event proper in it. Here, I'll pop on there for a minute. It seems like ages since we've done one of the. I mean, for those of the uninitiated that are new here, when we were a pop culture channel, we streamed what almost every night. Well, it's not like we don't stream almost every night now. But we had it was a clip show. Saturday night was a clip show. We usually had like
Yes.
we had a bigger panel. We had fun. We showed some fucking wacky ass videos. The only problem with that was the next day, going through the editing process in the studio on YouTube and clipping all the copywritten shit out. But no, glad to be back. It's fun. I miss these, and like I said, the family's sleeping right now, so I was like, I can't. It's too early. I was out in the water. It was a gorgeous day today. Congrats on the new gig, by the way, brother.
Thank you.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. I taught 2 days this week. My normal Friday, and then I added just an afternoon on Wednesday. So it was a slow week. I didn't get as many videos done. I've still got the Natural Born Thrillers video. I've got another really big one on an old school wrestling, kind of what could have been story I'm working on, and the Halloween 6 review, or no, Halloween 5. Jesus. The Thorn trilogy I'm finishing that up because I did 4 and 6 last year, and part 5 I was dreading. And then I watched it the other night and I realized why I was dreading that fucking movie so much, because, oh my God, it's so boring. And it's not like I've never seen it. I've seen that movie probably 30 times. And most of that was lazy. Didn't want to change the channel. There's a couple scenes I like in it, but as Halloween movies go, I can't even say it's one of the worst, because the last trilogy plus the 2 Rob Zombie are like the bottom of the barrel as far as I'm
Yeah.
concerned. Those were just ill-advised and terrible.
I've
I
got to.
oh, go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
Well, no, I haven't been that acquainted with the Halloween franchise.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think I saw the season of The Witch one time in a hotel room. Um, or what? And I don't know if part 3 was the Witch one, but I
Yeah.
did.
Yep. Part 3,
Okay.
Season of the Witch.
Yeah. Okay. The one without Michael Myers.
Yes.
Um, But as you know, I never actually sat down and watched the original Halloween movie until last year. And I get it, it was a different time, and like
Mm-hmm.
even now you go to watch sitcoms and the continuity isn't quite there because TV wasn't people's lives back then, so they didn't take
Yeah.
it as serious. You could, get away with a little more, I guess. Um, but man, not very good in my opinion. Like, just, and again, I'm taking into account that it was a different time, but
Yeah.
man, a lot of like really weird decisions by the characters, but also at that time, things weren't as character driven, I guess. So,
Mm-hmm.
back then it was just, a dumb horror flick, hasn't been made into kind of the legend that the franchise is today. So,
Yeah. What's up, Godzillionaire? Good to see you. Good to see you, man. Yeah, bonus stream tonight. We brought a Saturday night's main event back for you guys. Halloween,
yes.
the original movie. I love that movie. I love it. Um, not the scariest anymore. As a kid, there was some jump scares in it that were, that were good. I think the movie is a perfect example of why horror, and I've said this countless times, is not all about the gore, but it's more about the score. Because the test audiences didn't respond to the movie, they didn't find it frightening until Carpenter scored it the way he did. And that adds that layer to it, man. I know what you're talking about with character motivations. Yeah, the characters in this, outside of Lori and even her decisions, dropping weapons, not finishing off, and that's plot. But that's the only reason those happen is because the plot needed them to. And yeah, the characters, when they're in those situations of peril, not fighting back and just basically accepting their fate, laying back and taking it like a cheap hooker in a motel room that charges by the hour, it makes you scratch your head. It does. But being a, and I know you're not the hugest horror fan, Tone. But being I guess you kind of,
Like good horror.
yeah, you like good horror, but you're not into you've said as much. You're not into the schlock, like like I am, like some of us are, which is
Yeah.
fine. That's fine. Not everybody likes that. Like I try like my damnedest to get like my wife and my friends to watch the Andy Sedaris movies. And I'm like, I swear to God, you will fucking like these. Like it's not, they're like, wow, I was like, they're not cinematic masterpieces. So don't go into it expecting, an Oscar winning fucking performance from anyone. But what you are going to do is you're going to fucking sit back and you're going to be entertained. One
Yeah.
way or another, you're going to find something in that movie, be it the gunfights, the fighting, the fucking women. I mean, there's something in there for everybody who likes action movies, that
Well,
ones that you can just turn your brain off and enjoy, and that shit it's not for everybody. Some people, everybody watches and consumes media and entertainment for different reasons. So that's, that shit's not for everybody. But like you watched them and you were like, damn, this is pretty good.
well, and it's an unintentional cultural statement. Like
Yes.
back in the 1990s, if I would have seen it, I'm like, okay, it's an cheap B movie or whatever. But
Yep.
in our day and age, where we're basically living in one big HR department, the Andy Sedaris movies have aged well, and the fact that hey, this is what it could be.
Yeah.
Back again when people didn't take things so serious, including television. To your point about like it being about the score, I mean that's why we are an audience. Audience is derived from the word audio, and it really comes from there's a reason why intelligence is there's a reason why when you hear about classical music and people who listen to classical music, they're usually portrayed as more intelligent, maybe a little snooty, but I mean that's what it was back, in the day,
Mhm.
before TV, before radio or any of that. When you'd go in and listen to an orchestra, it's actually taking you through a story. These these classic scores, these classic pieces, they have meaning. Um, what was it? The Rite of Spring. Who did the Rite of Spring? I can't remember his not
Is that
Stravinsky.
is that Gershwin?
Okay, yeah, Vasilov Nijinsky. There was a riot after the Rite of Spring. And when if you and I listen to it today, it just sounds like a classical piece, but it was very, very, very controversial for its time because classical music has meaning. It takes you through a story. It's what we did before we
Yeah.
had TV. So you fast forward to today, it's really doing the same thing. Like I believe the clips on YouTube, and you can so anyone out there interested in finding it, but watching Jaws, watch the end of Jaws without any music to it, without the score guiding you and letting you know what
Yeah.
you should be feeling. And you don't even realize it's the end of the movie. You don't realize Jaws is dead. It's just kind of flat. So yeah, I agree with your point. Like, score has everything to do with it. It really guides you. It
Yeah.
shows you why you should be feeling a way. Or, you watch a movie and you've seen it a few times or maybe ages, and you start going back and you're like, wait a second. The bad guy was actually telling the truth. I mean, in a way, he was a good guy, but at the time, you didn't think that way because the score was telling you this is the antagonist.
Yep.
So yeah, just delving in on your point there, definitely a score has everything to do, whether it's a horror movie or
Hmm.
anything else. You want a good score in there because that's what drives us emotionally while watching the actual video take place on the screen.
Yeah, it's kind of like that with wrestling too. With theme songs, entrance themes,
Yeah,
um, it denotes the heel and the baby face, and who you should be booing and who you should be cheering. And yeah, music is and always has been meant to evoke that emotional response.
yep,
That's a huge thing in movies. Yeah, because especially I talk about it in horror because that's kind of my thing. But in terms of that, because yeah, it sets up those moments of tension. Yeah, it is. It's telling you, like you said, it's guiding you. That's a perfect example.
yep. And Godzillionaire says, Lex Luthor was the hero of the OG Superman movie. I haven't seen that, and I must have watched the Superman movie. Like, I don't care if people are like, "Oh, the third or fourth one wasn't as good," when I was a kid, they were all freaking good. I mean, I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure that was my introduction to Richard Pryor, but I don't remember. So I'd like to hear Godzillionaire's point on that. I'd like to hear that. The first time I heard about Ethan Van Sciver, it was right after The Last Jedi came out, but before
Mhm.
he kind of jumped on the Star Wars bandwagon and kind of ragging on it, which deservedly so. Not um, but the first time I heard about Ethan Van Sciver, he had a bunch of like drawing streams on his channel because I was
Mhm.
never the biggest like comic book fan, so I didn't know him from there. But there was a video he did on why Harry Potter was actually the villain of the first movie, and Draco Malfoy was. He didn't do anything wrong at first until Harry started talking shit to him. Like when they were on the train, Malfoy, all he tried to do was introduce himself and basically tell someone like Ron, he'll get you in trouble or whatever the line was. And it's true. Like Harry kind of started acting snooty with Malfoy and talking shit to him first. So it's like, okay, then fuck you.
Isn't
So
it weird
fucking
when
little
it's when
kids.
no, it's weird when you look at movies like that and you really do a examination of the character, the main character that you're supposed to get behind, and you look at them from the other side of the lens, and it's like, man, they're a fucking prick.
Yeah. Like, how
There's
would you act if like he was talking like that to you? It'd be like, okay, screw you too, then, dude.
the Karate Kid is a perfect example of that. Daniel LaRusso was the fucking villain.
Yeah, yeah.
He was the
He
villain.
moved. He moves to California, starts moving in on some other guy's chick, and they can be like, "Oh, well, they're broken up," but still, like not enough time had passed. And then he uses an illegal kick to win the tournament, you know. So
Yeah, that was he was a prick. Daniel was a fucking prick,
yeah,
And that's why I like Johnny's redemption arc so much in Cobra Kai, you know.
yeah,
Because it's like I always rooted for him. I always wanted him to win the All Valley tournament. And I
yeah,
was like, man, I'm like, I did. I couldn't help it. I was like, yeah, dude, this is kind of fucked up. Like, I'm
yeah.
better with Johnny than I am with Daniel.
And even more so than Daniel moving in on Allie. the first
Mhm.
interaction on the beach, like here comes Johnny, and he's having a fight with his ex-girlfriend, but that really is between him and Allie. Like Daniel had nothing to do with it. He's the new kid, and he white knights and steps in where he really wasn't welcome to. He was now I get if
Mhm.
Johnny was slapping her around or something, sure. But he's having a fight with his recent ex-girlfriend who he obviously cares about, or he wouldn't be trying to get her back. And then here comes some new prick from New Jersey. He's been in, your city for what, all of 12 hours, and he's trying to step in, and more or less tell you that you can't have, okay, again, a heated discussion with the woman you've basically known most of your life and, was dating and care very much about. So, yeah, from the get, like Daniel, from a certain point of view, definitely was the villain of that.
Yeah,
And
from
we
a
won't get
certain
into
point of
the
view.
yeah, we won't get into the bathroom scene at the little costume dance.
Oh god, that shit. Oh
They're
my
like just
god.
trying to chill and smoke a joint in the bathroom or whatever, and he fucking sprays them down with cold water. Like, yeah, fuck you, you're gonna get your ass whooped.
Right? Like that. I can't even be mad at him for beating his ass after that. Like, who the fuck are we hurting, man? We're smoking a joint, bro. Like, fuck off. Like, what the
Yeah.
fuck are you doing, little prick? Like, yeah, just smack that kid around. Like, and then Mr. Miyagi come and bails him out. Like, dude, let him get his ass whooped. He fucking deserves it. Like, trying to paint these guys in for what? Damn it. Damn it. Fucking killing me. We were talking about Bret Hart and Goldberg off air because Wrestling Bios had posted that clip, and I'd forgotten about that. I told you that I forget. I like the Thunder pretty much all runs together. Like I watched them,
Yep.
and I have some of
We
them on
need to go
VHS. I need to go back and watch
yeah.
those.
We need to go through and watch like Nitro and the corresponding Thunder from that era again. Because I like
Mhm.
that was always something to look forward to. We didn't get as much wrestling back then. So,
Yep.
at a time it was just Monday nights basically. And then you might have WCW Saturday night and
Hmm.
WWF Superstars, which wasn't what it was in the 80s, early 90s. It was basically a clip show condensed down to an hour. And I mean, that was wrestling at that time. So then WCW introduced Thunder, which was like another basically primetime show. Is maybe a step down from Nitro, but not very much. And that was exciting. And I believe it was on Thursdays originally, and then they moved it to Wednesday.
Yeah.
But yeah,
It started on
Thunder
Thursday.
was yeah, Thunder was a great show. Like it got
Mhm.
a little schlocky there. Like towards the end of Bischoff's run, they didn't put as much into it, but I enjoyed it. I liked coming home middle of the week and Thunder would be on.
Well, they were pre-taped on Tuesdays because I
Yeah,
went to I went to a couple Thunder tapings, and they were on Tuesdays. So you'd have Monday, you'd have Nitro, and you'd have all your storylines going on there, and you're taping shit on Tuesday, and then who knows what the fuck's gonna happen in between? You know what I mean? It was weird. Like shit didn't line up.
yeah,
Like because they what they do on Tuesdays and they'd show it on Thursday, it wouldn't sync up with what was going on the following Monday, which I'm like, I don't know how they fucked that up.
yeah,
But WCW was such a mess. But no, I enjoyed Thunder. I liked it because there was so many, their roster was so deep. They have WCW had a roster like AEW has, that deep of a roster with all the fucking talent in the world. And AEW has a way better roster right now, arguably, than WWE, but they don't book them worth a fuck. And
yeah,
that was the problem in WCW towards the end. A lot of it was bad booking. Like Saturday night used to be the main show. You know, you're talking about that. You had Saturday night was like their main show before Nitro. And
yeah.
yeah, you you had you were talking about the old I remember primetime wrestling on that was on Monday or Tuesdays, primetime wrestling, and then you'd have the Bobby the Brain Heenan show afterwards. Yeah, you'd have what is it? Fucking yeah. Sometimes once every 3 or 4 months, you'd get a Saturday night's main event, which I guess they're bringing back. But it'll probably be fucking NXT. I'm just like I can't watch NXT. I
What
can't.
made Saturday Night Main Event special was that it was broadcast television. It was like
Yeah.
live on NBC
Yep.
Saturday night before Saturday Night Live, you
Well, on
know?
those nights they wouldn't have Saturday Night Live.
Oh, well,
It would
there you
it,
go.
that was a special event.
And
Saturday night's main event would or Saturday Night Live wouldn't be on, and then they'd have Saturday night's main event on.
big things would happen. Like, I'm so tired of the formula where it's like, okay, wrestler A is going to feud with wrestler B, and we're going to go 3 months. And then wrestler B will go wrestle with wrestler C, and wrestler A will go wrestle wrestler D, and then they'll have a 3 month feud. Back then it was special. So you have like Hogan and Andre the Giant wrestle at WrestleMania 3.
Mm-hmm.
And then there isn't no, oh, backlash. Now we're going to wrestle in an Inferno match. No, it was okay, almost a year later, and the big Andre Hogan rematch is going to be on Saturday night's main event. And it felt like a spectacle. It felt huge. And Hogan lost his title that he had held for what, close to 5 years at that point? Something, or three
Yeah.
years, or however long it was. He lost it that, and in a very controversial fashion. Like Saturday night's main event, like meant something back then. It was
Mm-hmm.
a big deal.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a showcase event, you'd get storyline matches on there, which is something that they didn't really do much on broadcast TV, you know, because when would you get wrestling on broadcast TV?
Yeah,
You know,
that was a huge audience after
it
the
it was
huge WrestleMania 3 audience,
yep.
you know?
Yeah, that was like when Andre on that he almost headbutted Hulk Hogan to death, Um Dude, speaking of formulaic and shit, I was talking to Trey about this because SmackDown has a new logo.
Yeah, I missed it on I was at work yesterday, so I didn't get to see them show up on USA.
I watched the highlights on YouTube and dude, let me pull up the new logo here. Hang on, because I'm gonna
Yeah.
play and I'll take the copyright for the song. I'm only gonna play it's a 30-second clip. I'll play it. I don't give a fuck. The song is god awful. I'm like, why can't we have Drowning Pool back? Please.
I just like the original SmackDown theme. That was
Yes,
always
that
so fun.
everybody on the ground. Let's see, hang on, where's that? Yeah, here it is right here. Here it is right here. Hang on. Let me pull this
I
up.
was so mad when they changed out the original SmackDown theme for the Beautiful People or whatever from
Yep.
Marilyn Manson, because that song wasn't even new at that point. That was like,
No, it was 5 years old
yeah,
or 4 years old. Here's the logo right here, dude. This is the new SmackDown logo. That's
it's okay.
I
It's
don't
the S and the D is a little confusing if you go to read it, but
Yeah, it looks like Smack Sound. I don't like it. I don't.
don't think
I'm such a curmudgeon. I don't like it.
I don't think
But
Triple H is the genius they make him out to be. Quite
no,
honestly,
no. I mean, look at I would why not just like this right here?
yeah, that's
That's I like this better. I'd rather see that.
yeah.
And we were talking about themes. Let me pull this other tab up here. Right here. Okay. So I gotta go over here. I'm gonna put the background music down. So this is God. I'm gonna hear. Let me. Okay, the volume's not too loud. All right, here we go.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let them know we on the way. Counting zeros every day. You know that we.
What the actual? Holy shit! Am I that old that I find this just garbage to be like insulting to every sense?
I miss dude, I really miss. I know it's a moment in time, and I'm getting older and shit, but I really miss just the Monday night Raw, like the Raw is War, and the
Yes.
Monday Nitro intros. Those were fine.
Wait.
I'm not a fan of modern day wrestling. Like, I'll always love the industry itself and
Mhm.
at its core what wrestling is, but I am not a fan of the modern day presentation at
No,
all.
no, it's bad. This is the Nitro song you're talking this right? Yeah. This is a great cover I found of this to use. But that's hype. That's
Yeah.
that's hype. This right here, this
Never play. Time I never been one to play with. When he's talking, it's my first language. Me and RM gang, we.
what the fuck?
Yeah,
Like no.
I
No.
haven't probably the last time I was a fan of any wrestling intro was move to the music, play that funky music, and
Yeah.
even then that's not my favorite, but
That's
that
Across the
wasn't a
Nation.
bad intro. Yeah.
Across the Nation by Union Underground. That's a fantastic
Yeah.
fucking song. No, I fucking I dig that one. No, my favorite. Hang on a second. Where's it at? Do I have it here? I think I'm looking for it. Hang on. Here it is right here. Hang on. Give me a minute to upload that. But no, the Raw, you were talking about the Raw theme. Now, when I do, I don't know if you've caught any of them, but like my Raw reviews, I use the Raw's War theme.
Yeah.
Like
I love
for my
that's
I refuse to use that I'll play a snippet of the new Raw song because I don't know if you've heard that Born to Be the Greatest, like the theme from Raw. It's slightly less offensive than that's Megan the Stallion, which there's no such thing as a female stallion. That makes no sense if you know anything about horses.
no.
All right.
Yeah,
Here's
Dot
the
Zillionaire was questioning why she's a thing.
right. She's not is Megan like Willie Brown's love child or something. She very well could be. Would that make Kamala her mom? Oh. All right.
Ew.
Here's the SmackDown theme that is the superior one. The original theme. This is it right here. The songs I fucking love this shit.
That's another thing, like I saw a meme earlier. Who would agree that the SmackDown Fist set is the greatest set in SmackDown history? It's
Yeah.
one of them, but for
Yeah.
me, I just like the original look of SmackDown. I can even pull it up, but just
Oh
kind of the
no, I know.
circles they had because it was
Yeah.
so innovative for its time.
Yeah.
And it felt completely different. Like right now, Raw and SmackDown feel the same. Just one's red, one's blue,
Yep.
But back then, they had the oval Titantron and just it felt special. It felt
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to find a good picture of it, but
I know what you're talking about because I have it as the background for my SmackDown reviews when I actually get to do them.
yeah, but this set right here, like this whole
Yes.
setup was just special. It didn't. Yeah.
I love
Nowadays,
the fist
everything's
look.
just a. Yeah. The fist was cool too. But now it's just a big fucking screen, dude. No matter what it is, it's a big screen. And it's boring. And I get you can make the screen whatever you'd like it to be, but nothing's as good as the physical setup. Like the Halloween Havoc, setups
Oh,
were always fantastic.
yep.
And that was something you could look forward to at every pay-per-view was what's the theme of it going to be? What's the setup going to be, And you could rate the different setups. Now everything is just fucking screens, whether it's the ring apron or the entrance area, everything is fucking screens now, and it's boring and 2D.
Yeah. I hate the lasers. That shit annoys me. I put the Savage Beach music on in the background. I have all the music from the Andy Sedaris movies. I'm just gonna upload those and use those as talk beds. Those songs are fantastic. But this song is not fantastic. We're speaking about, you're talking about Raw and SmackDown. This is the current Raw theme. Okay. Again, why do I use the Raw's War theme on my reviews? This is why right here.
Born to be the greatest of all time. This is where I draw the line. Can't stop my shine. They know it's my time. Let the world know I've arrived. I'm on the rise.
What the fuck? Like, what?
Yeah.
Why? Why? It's not good. It is. And I know I'm not the target demo, but I mean, Jesus God in heaven. Who spends money? Who's got the more disposable income is what you know what I mean? This I don't, it does, but the thing is, more so than that, it doesn't even match with like the product. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
There's no nothing. It's just it's we'll play Akeem because Akeem's song has more. This song has more pop than that. I'm never gonna get tired of Akeem's theme song.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Godzillion, a Raw theme for the modern audience.
Modern audience.
I imagine if I were booking WWE, everything would go through the filter of would Stone Cold shake his head at this? And Stone Cold, like everyone's like, why didn't he show up at WrestleMania to help Cody?
Why would he help Cody?
Stone Cold and Cody. Like, I like that Steve Austin is like the one fucking person that, because again, in his own words, if you're not in this business to be champion, then you have no reason to be here. So when an entire roster gets behind you, like, it's your turn to be champion, yay! Like, that's not wrestling. That's cheerleading. That's not wrestling. Wrestling should be, yeah, I got your back, and then you smack him in the fucking back with a steel chair because you want that title. But instead, Cody's out there trying to give away title shots, and Kevin Owens is coming out, I'm just not worthy. I don't deserve the belt.
Yeah.
Like, and this is Triple H booking this shit. The guy that would crack you with the fucking sledgehammer. He'd crack his own mom with the sledgehammer to keep the title. Like, what the fuck happened, man? This whole violence has no place in professional wrestling era sucks. They call it the Renaissance era because they're not self-aware. They're stupid. I want outlaws. I don't want people showing up like, oh my God, I'm in WWE. Look, guys, I'm going to WrestleMania. Like, I want these people, look, they would either be in prison or in the Fed. They had no other choice in life. This is what they had to do. I don't like fans wrestling. And that's what it is now, a roster full of fucking fans.
And that is the biggest problem in wrestling is not everybody is meant to be a professional wrestler. It's a fucking, you're not, because just because you can go through the motions does not make you a wrestler. You have to be, there's so many things that these fucking modern workers don't have. They don't have charisma. Very few of them have true talent and acumen for the business without being a fucking aggressive parkour artist. You know,
Yeah.
it's fucking stupid to
And
watch just the garbage that is passed off as wrestling now is backyard shit. And that goes for
work.
both companies. That goes for both companies. I
Yeah.
don't review SmackDown. There's more of the workers that I like on SmackDown than on Raw. But my God, like I can't do two shows because, like you said, they're so homogenized that it's just one's red and one's blue.
Yeah. And that's how it's
That's
been for years now. You know,
yeah,
and this is the perfect like circle back to Bret Hart. Like, nobody was more proud than Bret Hart. Bret Hart carried those titles with pride. Bret
yeah.
Hart wrestled every match with pride. And he didn't go out there with the filter of, okay, well, we all know it's scripted. No, he went out there and he took his shit serious. And that's what you have to do. Steve Austin versus Vince McMahon. They took it serious. They didn't take it with the mindset of, okay, now we all know this is scripted, but let's play along. No, you were going to get your ass beat if you stepped in the ring with Stone Cold Steve Austin. Same thing with Bret Hart. Like, they were innovative. They didn't mark out because, hey, I get to main event SummerSlam with Davey Boy. Like, that wasn't it. They took it. For as much as they try to present WWE like an actual sport now, like they've taken a lot from like Monday Night Football and shit in their presentation, they don't wrestle like that. It's all fucking spot fests now and routines and the same loops. Like if Cody's wrestling tonight, I can name 5 of his routines right now. You already know the match going into it.
Yep.
You know the meat and potatoes of the match going into it. When Bret Hart stepped into that ring, we could watch him and Mr. Perfect from SummerSlam 91, and then we can watch them wrestle a week later on Superstars. It's going to be 2 different matches. 2 completely different matches.
But that's what happens when you have actual talent and you understand the psychology of the business, and that when you do a spot, there's a build and a reason to get there to execute that big maneuver. You don't just do a big maneuver to get the crowd to fucking clap like seals and chant, "This is awesome," or holy shit. Like these morons in both companies, and I'm talking about the marks, bro, the hardcore fucking marks, will fucking we've seen it because you've watched the shows with us. They'll chant "This is awesome" when somebody does a fucking hip toss and you get a sequence of 2 hip tosses. They get a "This is awesome" chant. It's like, that's a standard fucking move that you learn like day 2 of training.
Yeah.
Like you don't fucking, yeah, it's frustrating because I sit there and you talk about guys like Hart and Perfect and their ability to work, you know, because they were on the road, they're working fucking, you know, they're working the same opponent because they're like in a program, you know, they're working house shows. But yeah, every night is a different match. You might have the same outcome, but they're going to get there differently every fucking night because they have a deep enough fucking repertoire that they can pull from, that they don't have to just be like, okay, it's mapped out. You know, like, yeah, there was guys like Scott Hall. He was going to work the same match no matter what. Like Scott Hall worked the same match no matter fucking what he did, you know. Same spots were going to happen. But he could do it.
Some people can get away with it.
He could do, and Scott Hall's my favorite wrestler, but he could do it and he could get away with it. You know, he had that, his machismo, he had charisma. You know, Bret Hart commanded that fucking attention in the ring. He was the excellence of execution. You know, Mr. Perfect, the guy, Mr. Perfect, and he was amazing in the ring. He was a character. He made you hate him. I hated Mr. Perfect as a gimmick, as a wrestler, but I was like, man, the older I get, it's like the more respect you have, especially for the heels. And that's why when I got to turn heel, it was so much fun, because it's like, I've always wanted to do this and kind of see how I can make people respond. Baby faces, it's easy. It really is. But they say it's easy, but it's easier to make people love you than it is to make people hate you. But a truly effective heel, we want to burn down your house heat, not to bring in the swerve thing at all, as opposed to go away heat,
Yep.
because
Or
you don't
just fucking apathy.
Apathy is worse than go away heat.
Yeah.
Apathy is way worse than go away heat. What I don't know if we can show that clip. We can watch the clip together. I don't know if we can show it. It's 1 minute and 56 seconds long. The Bret
Yeah,
Hart
they'll probably hit you with something, even if we played a little background music to it or something. They'll probably hit you with something. I wouldn't risk it, but check out wrestling bios on Twitter, like biography bios, BIOS, wrestling bios, and you can check that clip out for yourself. Or if you're following me, I did retweet it yesterday. It was very insulting, and you've got someone like Bret Hart, who's a pedigree. He comes from a dynasty whose career was ended early after one of the worst times in his life, between the Montreal screw job, between his brother dying. The guy's in a very dark place anyway, and then he gets in the ring with someone like Goldberg, who's like, for lack of a better term, he's a Democrat wrestler, as far as, this person who cares what they think or what they are about. They look presidential, so we should run them. Same thing with Goldberg. Well, he looks like a professional wrestler, so let's have him all mow through everybody and put him at the top. Meanwhile, flash forward, 25, 26 years into the future, the guy still can't fucking wrestle. He's been in the industry pushing 30 years, and he still has absolutely zero acumen for the business. And he steps in there and fucking puts one of the greatest wrestlers to ever grace the squared circle out of commission and gave him lifelong problems. And he's going to step in that ring now, and they're basically shooting on each other. And Bret Hart tells Goldberg, you put me out of commission because you wanted to. And that's the truth, because if he didn't want to, he would have taken care of his opponent. He would have made sure Bret didn't, when Bret's doing the figure 4 around the ring post, he would have held Bret's foot. That's all he had to do, was hold Bret's foot. That's all he had to do. And he didn't fucking do it. Bret Hart, who's applied this move safely 1,000 times, cracks his skull on the concrete, then gets back in the ring, and Goldberg kicks the shit out of his head. And Goldberg says, "Nah, I didn't put you out of business because I wanted to. I put you out of business because I was doing my job." No, you weren't doing your job. Your job is to protect your opponent. As much as Bret and Shawn hated each other, they fucking protected each other.
Yeah.
What Goldberg did, he deserves shit. And I see people saying, yeah, but it's been 20-something years. Get over it, Bret. No. You weren't going through what Bret Hart was going through at the time. That's all he had left, was this business. For everything that man was going through, he still had the business, and that was taken away from him. He didn't get his redemption arc. It pisses me off, man, because Goldberg, he's a facade. He always was. People talk about, well, Steve Austin versus Goldberg. Who was better? Steve Austin, by 1,000 miles. Steve Austin was an actual wrestler.
Yeah.
He's got a great mind for the business. You know, remember when we were doing the Monday Night War retrospective Etep, and before Mick Foley or Steve Austin were considered main eventers, they went out on Raw in just a random match. And I mean, it was a vicious match, a very intense match. And you're like, this is why these two made it to the heights they did.
Yeah. Yeah, they beat the shit out of each other. We watched that.
Yeah, just a random Raw match.
It was hard because wasn't he still ringmaster at that point, Austin?
He was just becoming like Stone Cold Steve Austin, but it was like it was before any feuds with Brett or anything. It was when he was still finding, you know, the character.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I couldn't remember. I remember him. I remember that match. I just where it fell. Hey Fallon, how you doing?
What up?
There's a name I haven't seen in a very long time. No, welcome, girl. Good to see you. Good to see you. Hope you're well. No, Austin is a million times better than Goldberg. And you know I'm a WCW guy through and through. Which is, boy, was Stone Cold letting one slip through. Holy shit. You know, ECW, and it's like, boy, if they would have made a play for him ever, you know, beforehand.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right. They had Austin, little sarcasm here. We had stunning Steve Austin, you know, and he held gold in WCW, US champion, tag team champion, you know, had a good feud with Steamboat. Like, he was such a good worker before his injury. My God.
Yeah.
Think about he probably would have been wrestling well into like 2010s.
Yeah. I know.
I mean,
it was
look,
another tragedy, you know?
Yep.
Like he was
Yeah.
burning hotter than Hulk Hogan, but just for a shorter time. Like,
yeah. We always say it's better to burn out than fade away.
you know,
I mean, Austin never faded away. You know, I mean, look at him now. His conditioning for what is he, 50, 58? Something like that, maybe 50,
something like that.
Let me look at his age. But he looks great right now. And they're talking about 59. Okay. They're talking about him with a possible Mania appearance. And I'm just like, please don't help Cody. Like, please,
He shouldn't have even come back for Kevin Owens. It was nice to see it, but it means nothing. Like, it really means nothing.
Yeah, I mean, we watched the match. It was a good match. I was more impressed with Austin's ability to still work, and because they were out, you know, there was a brawl, but Austin looked good. And didn't he stunner? Yeah, Vince took the worst fucking stunner in that. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Well, it
was.
Oh, go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
Vince ruined it. Like Vince himself would have yelled at somebody for blowing a spot like this backstage, but it was the next night. So Austin main evented with Kevin Owens, you know, night 1. And then night 2, it was Pat McAfee versus Austin Theory. And then Vince McMahon came in and then he pinned Pat McAfee. So then they stand up and Austin Theory's music hits. And Vince gets the old look of when Stone Cold music, and he starts looking around, and then Austin Theory has to tell him, "Hey, that's my music." So then Vince calms down and bobs his head. Then the glass breaks, and Vince completely like ruined the surprise. Like you knew something was coming after that. Oh man, it was awful.
And he would have screamed at somebody for blowing that spot. You know, like it's just yeah, dude, like what the fuck? You just Bobby the Brain Heenan that shit. Yeah. But whose side is he on?
Like, why would you say that? Like, I get Heenan never liked Hogan, but you never had to question whose side Hogan would be on. Like, yeah.
Yep.
to Heenan, Hogan was the bad guy always anyway. Like,
Yeah. Oh yeah, dude. Heenan hated him. He hated Hulk. I still like, I can't fully be like, I fucking hate Hogan. Is that bad that I can't just like, I can't.
I hate Hogan.
I can't, man. The dude, like, he
As
says,
much as you dislike like a lot of the things that he did, if you look
yeah,
at wrestling now, he would have been right. If hey, we're gonna have you going in there and job to Darby Allin.
yeah,
That don't work for me, brother. Like he even, not to make it political or anything, but even outside of wrestling, you bring him to the RNC earlier this year.
yeah.
Hogan knows how to capture an audience in the
Yes.
palm of his hand and get them excited.
Yep. Yep. One of the best to ever step into a ring that had that ability to take that audience, no matter how many people were in the house. He fucking always had them right here. And
It just absence makes the heart grow fonder. There was a time in the 90s where people were real tired of Hogan, especially in the late 90s or early 2000s, but that's because he had been around for 20 some odd years. Had he maybe, like, God forbid the NWO wouldn't have happened in the current form that we know it. But let's say Hogan did step away from the Fed in 93 and didn't come back till 2003, people would have been fucking livid to see him. They would have been excited. Hogan's good at what he does. It's just people were getting a little burnt out on him because he had been around for spanning 3 decades. Like,
yeah, that's it. You have to get away from that kind of shit, man. You have to take a break. You have to revitalize your character. And the heel turn for him was it. That was his fountain of youth.
yeah.
It was. And that's, I always laugh, you see this, well, Hogan can't wrestle. It was like, remember we watched that footage from Japan of him, and it's
Yeah.
like he had a move set, like, and he showed some chain against Luger, the second Nitro. He's wrestling Luger, and for like 10 seconds, Hogan breaks into chain, like on the ground, like chain. I'm like,
Well, and that's the point we were talking about earlier. When you're in the upper echelon like that, like a Hogan or a Cena, and you have the entire brand resting on your shoulders, yet you want to kind of take care of yourself. You can get away with going in and having a routine, and that's fine. Even then, they found ways, for the most part, to make the bigger matches feel a little different, you know. But it's kind of that way up and down the card now.
yeah,
Like you have the same routines, and innovation is considered throwing 3 super kicks instead of 2, and it just doesn't have the same pizzazz. Like again, when we went, and I know, well, back in my day, but when we went back and watched SummerSlam '91 with Brett and Mr. Perfect a couple weeks ago, it was so innovative because you could tell they were doing things in the ring that I still haven't seen again to this day. The spots they were doing, or the way they would hit the spots. And I don't want to say, like, you can tell everything wasn't meticulously planned and that they were freestyling it some, because meticulous planning isn't always bad either. If you look at like a Randy Savage versus Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, that was a wonderful match too. But a lot of time, and this is another problem in wrestling, like if you're going to do a spot in the ring, you want to make sure like the people coming before you or after you aren't going to do the same spot. And a lot of times you get that up and down the card now, like a lot of the same spots in the same show, and that doesn't do it any favor. Like every time you sit down to watch a wrestling match, it should be like opening a new present. It should be something new, something we haven't seen for at least that night.
We ran into that at SummerSlam. I can't. Did you watch SummerSlam with us? I can't remember if you
Yeah,
did or not.
yeah.
Okay.
I missed the
So
beginning, but I saw most of it.
I've got in my notes still, there was 5 out of the 7 matches had shoulder to corner ring post spots. 5 out of 7 matches and 5 out of the first 6. The last 2 didn't.
Yeah.
It was just like, holy shit, it's shoulder slam 2024, like Jesus.
Yeah.
Like there's why I hated that. Like we would always, like when me and James were tagging, or if I was working singles, I would so where am I? I'm either going to be main or semi-main. If I was a singles match, sometimes it'd be semi-main, which is fine. I don't care. It's a singles match. I don't need to be main event. I'm half the tag champs. It doesn't, we got the heavyweight champion to go main. So I'm like, I'm semi-main, or like I do that spot. And it's like, okay, so nobody is doing a fucking crucifix power bomb. That's my shit. That's my, the razor's edge. That's my finisher.
Yeah.
Nobody. I'm like, I don't give a fuck. That's my shit. I'm using it in my match tonight. I'm actually hitting my, as a heel, I don't generally, I hit it when we won the straps. I was like, I'm hitting my finisher. I'm hitting my setup, the fall away, and I'm hitting my fucking finisher, and we're going over clean. I'm like, I don't give a fuck. Well, you got to use the megaphone. So I had to hit the fucker with the megaphone, then I'm like, it doesn't make sense. He's fucking 5'5". So I have to use a megaphone, a fall away slam, and a fucking, and a razor's edge to beat this guy. Like, does that, you know what I mean? So,
yeah.
But no, I would make sure it's like, nobody's using this shit. Like, do not use my fucking shit. Do not use James's shit. Whatever. I can't remember what his finisher was, but because he barely used it, we're going over dirty. But yeah, you don't like, hey, if the main event has a fucking 2 table spots, you don't do a fucking table spot in the first match or the second match or the third match or the fourth fucking match, unless it's a hardcore match. Okay. You know what I mean? If it's specifically a hardcore match, that's fine. But hey,
Then any table spot should be reserved for that hardcore match anyway. Then there shouldn't be a table spot later on. Like,
well, it depends. It always depends. There's always
skill
like
steps or something, you
Yep.
know. Like,
Do a chair spot, something like that. Do that's where you do your ring post spot. Go brawl in the crowd a little bit. But yeah, you don't know. You don't. It's like, hey, the heavyweight champion, his finisher is a fucking, the fucking choke slam. I don't want to see a 5'5" fucking guy in the first match choke slamming somebody and them no selling it, because then what the fuck does, you know what I mean? Or beating them with it.
yeah.
Not no, but going over with it. What the fuck does that make for that? It just, no, you don't steal your heavyweight champion's finisher. You don't take other big spots that are going to happen later in night and be like, oh, well, we can one up that, because that's horrible psychology. It is. And that's why it's like, you always got to go, and you should, honestly, it's, to me, if you have something big planned, then yeah, you go, hey, look, this is where, I'd let the rest of the card know we're fucking doing this spot. This is, this is what, don't fuck with it. You know what I mean? Don't stay away from doing shit like that, because if not, I'm gonna probably fucking potato you when you come back for fucking up my shit. Like, that's bad. That's fucking bad juju in the locker room. It's not good fucking etiquette. It's not. It's terrible. And I hate seeing that on TV. I hate seeing 50 super kicks and 8 Canadian destroyers done by little guys and fucking 110 pound broads. It's ridiculous.
I want to say, like, I can't imagine Shawn Michaels takes kindly, and I mean, it happens in the Fed and it happens in AEW, but Shawn can't take kindly to like so many super kicks from so many wrestlers, and they're just played off like nothing. But same thing, like even more so with all of the sharpshooters now. Like especially in AEW, you see a lot of sharpshooters, and I don't think once I've seen one applied properly, other than maybe, you know, and Sting stepped over the other, like his was modified compared to Bret Hart's, you know, Scorpion Deathlock. He used the other foot or whatever, the other leg. But these fucking sharpshooters, man, I could do a sharpshooter when I was 11 years old, and these motherfuckers can't perform one right in the ring. That's your legacy in a way. That's what you're known for. Like, whenever I see a sharpshooter today, I think of the Hart family, whether it's Brett or Owen, you know? And same thing with the super kick. I mean, you think of Shawn Michaels. Like, he's the one that popularized. He may not have invented the move, obviously. It's a kick to the face, but he popularized it in the genre. And I don't know. Just I don't know, man. Same with the DDT. You know, like when Jake the Snake used to hit a DDT, it was like, holy fuck. Now you've got John Cena getting DDT'd on the cement only to go into the ring and beat 4 guys at once. Like, yeah.
Oh yeah, dude. They no sell finishers. There's no protected finishers anymore. Like
if you got DDT'd in on the concrete in 1989, you would be getting stretchered out of the arena. And there would be an update the next week, and you wouldn't be seen for a little while. Like, it would have been a big deal, you know? Nothing's like taken serious anymore.
No, there's no. My whole thing with that is, and this goes back to NXT, Roxanne Perez, the women's champion there. I jokingly said in my Raw review last week that their match was the Nepos versus the Lesbos. You had it wasn't Roxanne Perez, it was Zelina Vega, Lyra Valkyria, and Nat Neidhart versus the Pure Fusion Collective, which is Shayna Baszler, Zoe Stark, and Sonya Deville. And for the record, 2 out of 3 of them are lesbians. Zoe's the only one that's not. She can holler. But no, so they went over, and you're talking about sharpshooters. They Natty, because they were in Calgary, so Natty used the sharpshooter. Lyra couldn't do it, so she used a single leg, and Zelina Vega had a Boston Crab. Zelina Vega is married to Malachi Black. Natty, obviously we know who Natty is, and then you got Lyra Valkyria, who's Becky Lynch's friend. I'm like, the Nepos versus the Lesbos. That's why it made sense to me, because Natty I don't even know why she's still there. I don't. She should be an agent just working. I know she works with the girls, but I'm like, she was only on TV because I don't think she's been on. I haven't seen her on TV in fucking forever. You know, I thought she was done working matches. Not to like downplay her. She's great, but I'm just like, you're still there? Like, because they haven't done anything with her. I think she was in NXT, but like I said, I don't watch NXT. But Roxanne Perez, she's the one. She went over on Jordan Grace when Jordan came over from TNA the first time, and we watched that NXT pay-per-view. I think it was Battleground or something. She is like 110 pounds. The only reason she's got a spot's because of Booker T. Booker T trained her. Her nickname's the Prodigy. She uses a fucking Canadian destroyer and calls it Pop Rocks.
Yeah, like
it's fucking ridiculous. Like, I mean, wait, I'll just do this. Just.
I mean, like Stone Cold was the only one hitting a Luthez Prez when he was on top, you know?
Yep. And now you've got these 100-pound chicks doing it. And the other
Meanwhile,
thing,
who's using the freaking big boot these days? No one.
Big Bill uses it sometimes when he's not getting squashed by Darby Allin.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? There was another one that pissed me. Oh, what the fuck was it? It was on Raw. Nikki Cross. She's Sister Abigail in the Wyatt Six.
And the suplex in the street fight. My buddy showed me the street fight, and he was like, "Wasn't that so badass with fucking Nikki Cross or suplex?" I'm like, dude, if Nikki Cross went to suplex me, she would have had a broken nose. And
Yep.
I'm not a professional athlete. Chad Gable is a professional athlete.
He was an Olympic wrestler too, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I want to say he's got like an amateur background.
And
like
I told him, to be fair, I don't like it when the Dudleys or fucking powerbomb girls through tables, and I don't like it when girls kick the shit out of guys in the wrestling ring. I don't like the intergender shit.
No, it's fucking it never. And I told you that I was put in that position before, right? Where they wanted me to job out to this untrained woman. She was going to come out and hit me in the nuts and then pin me. I'm like, I grabbed my bag and I pieced. I'm like, I'll see you later. Call me when you got something that's not embarrassing. And because what does that do? Because I'd went over on Titan at that point, Denzel. I'd went over on him at that point, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I'm not putting this broad over. I fucking quit. I just walked out. I'm like, I'm done.
Any scenario in the world, and maybe not the best examples, at least Kevin Nash, but is there any scenario on the planet where you can imagine Kevin Nash or Scott Hall jobbing out to a woman?
No.
Any at all?
Not one. Not one.
No
Not
one
one
even kicked
Never.
out of the Razor's Edge. Like, no one kicked out of the Razor's Edge. Can you imagine them jobbing out to a woman? No.
That's like, I talked about this Monday night, Brian Cage. Like, I am a Brian Cage fan. I respect that man. Like, I don't give a fuck what kind of gas he's on. I don't care. You still have to bust your ass to carry that fucking physique. That is work. And he's taking whatever he's taking. It's got to be recovery shit from the beating his body takes in the wrestling business. His career took a fucking downward spiral right after he jobbed out to Tessa Blanchard. When he put that broad over, how do I take you seriously? How? You are 285, 290 pounds of fucking muscle, whatever this dude weighs. I mean, he's a fucking huge guy. I mean, he's only like, what, maybe 6 foot tall? But I mean, he's massive. He's, like I said, I always refer to him as like a He-Man action figure because that's what he's built like. Tessa Blanchard is like, what? She's 5'4", 5'5", 120 pounds. She's very well built. Don't get me wrong. Amazing like physique. She's a very talented female wrestler. There's no scenario, like you said, there's no where she beats Brian Cage in a fight, right? That's not going to happen.
New conspiracy theory. Bruiser Brody was shown a flash of the future and started stabbing himself with scissors in that locker room in Puerto Rico.
He saw Brian Cage. Marty McFly picked him up. Brought him, he saw Brian Cage and Sami Callihan put Tessa Blanchard over, and he's like, fuck this shit. Take me back. And just, yep.
Dude.
We have to go back.
It's all part of destroying, like, everyone standing on the shoulders of giants, including everyone in the wrestling industry.
Yeah.
Thinking, oh, well, look at wrestling now. Look how much money it's making, and blah, 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 blah. But they are standing on the shoulders of what greater men before them built.
Mm-hmm.
And these people literally sacrificed their bodies, their marriages, their families, their relationship with their children, their own mental health. I mean, they sacrificed everything to build this industry up. So now we can cosplay. And so we can say violence has no place in wrestling. And so 300-pound, 6'5" motherfuckers can job out to females.
Yeah.
They're burning everything these people built up. It's like, yeah, it's gross.
Oh,
Wait, can you imagine a scenario of Bob Holly, dude? Like him or not, dude? I'm not a big Bob Holly fan, but he was a man fan. He was a tough son of a bitch.
Mm-hmm.
He was a tough son of a bitch. Can you imagine John Bradshaw Layfield or Ron Simmons or any of these people jobbing themselves out to it? Now, I could maybe see a situation where, you know, and I don't like the mixed tag matches, but maybe like their opponent, who's a man, beats the shit out of them, fucking lays him out, and then has the woman cover him or something.
Yeah.
But can you see a situation where Nikki Cross would German suplex JBL?
No, there's no. And I watched that, and that is, it's a garbage. I say it's a garbage spot from the perspective of it shouldn't have happened. Chad Gable put that fucking move over. Dude, they said he shouldn't have popped like that. He shouldn't have put himself over that much. You know what I mean? Like throwing himself back, because it made her look way too strong. Like, and my whole thing, like, I got pissed because she just like straight up, they treat Ivy Nile like a joke. I'm like, that woman she's a star. Like, you look at her, she's a fucking star. She has everything. Like, she can work. She's badass. And everyone's like, her get beat down, tap out, get beat down, get crushed with the stairs. And then she's in, and then Nikki Cross goes in, and she's not even like athletic looking. Like, if you get a look at her, I mean, she's kind of chunky. I don't know. And it doesn't make sense because Gable, and I was just commenting the week before or something about like Gable picking up that big ass Otis dude like a while ago. I was like, Chad Gable is deceptively strong for his size. Like, I want to say he's like an ant, you know, and not that he's that small. I mean, he's not a tall guy, but
he's got core strength.
Ants are, you know, how strong they are for their size, how much they can lift. And that's it. Gable's Ant-Man there. Gable's Ant-Man. But no, there's no way, you know, there's no Nikki Cross, you know, hitting a German suplex on Scott Hall or Kevin Nash, because Kevin Nash
doesn't work for me, brother.
And to answer Godzillionaire, are you talking about this?
Gorgeous men like Dominic go for girls that look like me.
Yes, she could pin me at home. That's absolutely fine. I have no issue with that. I'll put Liv over. She can even wear my belt and nothing else. But no, man, somebody asked me that in the comment section, because I made, and I always send you screenshots of these things that I do in comment sections on Facebook. And the one was, I hope you had that energy for China, which I was like, yeah, it was fucking stupid when China was wrestling guys too, because as muscular as China was, number one, she couldn't work. Like, she could do her little flips and shit like that. Yes, she was very strong, but she couldn't wrestle. Not at all. And number two, she was still only about 170 pounds.
She was wanting to be paid the same thing as Steve Austin, and to wrestle Steve Austin and The Rock and others in main events for the WWF Championship. No.
Not even close. Not even fucking close. There is like TNA, their world title is fucking worthless because of what they did with it in 2020 with Tessa Blanchard. That's a garbage title. You know what title's worth more than that? I can go back and grab mine. That's worth more than the fucking TNA title is, because that fucking belt has been sullied. You totally ruined your title by putting it on your world title on a female. There is a reason there is a women's world championship. That's for women. That's where women wrestle. They wrestle to women. The mixed tag match thing, yeah. that's coming up at Bad Blood. And, you know, even in the last one, you know, Rhea, of course, you know, got her hands on Dom and she's always gets a whip on him. I'm like, why don't we get to see him just cold cock her right in the mouth? And I like Rhea Ripley. I'm a huge fan of hers. Like, haha, obviously her aesthetics, yeah, but as her work and her selling, she's fucking awesome. Like
I'm a bigger fan of her than China any day.
Yeah. Oh God, yes, absolutely. Rhea is. I appreciate the way she sells better than any female I think I've ever seen. I don't think I've ever seen another woman that can the expressions and the way she sells. I mean, if somebody says Trish Stratus, I'll smack you in the fucking mouth.
What was it? Her shoulder or her knee that she popped back into place during the Royal Rumble?
Shoulder. Wait, no.
It was her knee.
It was her knee. It was her knee.
She popped her knee back into place while wrestling through the entire Rumble. She was like, she drew number 1 or 2 and stayed through the whole thing and won it. But her knee got knocked out of fucking socket. And in the ring during the match, she popped it back into place her fucking self. She's an amazing woman. But I don't want to see her wrestling men. There's a reason we have, it's not a gender thing. There is a reason there are weight classes in contact sports. It doesn't matter. Anderson Silva was fucking amazing. But you're not going to put him in the ring with Brock Lesnar or Cain Velasquez. Vasquez.
Valencia. I think. Is it Valencia? A sweet
You're not
bag
putting
of
them in the fucking octagon together, dude. There's a reason. And same thing with men and women. I don't care what you say. You've got Venus and Serena Williams losing to like the ranked 400th guy. You've got the U.S. soccer team losing to like a middle school men's soccer team. That's just reality.
Yep. Yeah.
I know Bolsheviks hate reality, but that's what it is.
Yep. And it's not a slight to the women. That's the thing that these weirdo like male cucks, these male feminists and the feminists, they always get mad when you say shit like this. Well, what? We're not good enough? And it's like, no, you're not to compete with men. We're not meant to compete against each other. Like that's not what we're supposed to do. Like,
men and women are supposed to compete with each other, not against each other.
Exactly. And the whole, like, I remember when Rhea Ripley was talking about wanting to have a match with Randy Orton. I'm like, can you picture that now? Okay, Rhea's 175 pounds. She's very well built, very muscular. Randy Orton is 6'6", 290 pounds right now.
Yeah,
he is
bigger
200,
than he's ever been.
And he's there ain't an ounce of fat on that dude. Like, he's a monster. What scenario does she physically overpower him at all? And don't give me she's faster than him, like in the ring, because it doesn't matter with his speed, because his range and raw strength and size is going to overcome that at all. There's no, you know what I mean? Like, and I'm talking obviously kayfabe, not like a legit shoot fight. But there's no way that match would look good. There's no way.
And it's not a gender, like, it's sort of a gender thing, but if you put Darby Allin in the ring with Randy Orton or Big Bill, it's the same feeling I have as if you put Rhea in the ring with the ring. Again, this needs to be taken serious. You don't have Rick Grimes tickling and pinching the nipples of zombies because we all know The Walking Dead scripted. We need to take this serious if you want it to be executed correctly. That's just the nature of the beast that is professional wrestling.
Yeah. And that's why kayfabe was such a good thing. And for the record, I had the same energy when Rey Mysterio was going over on the big guys. I hated it. I fucking hated it. It was fucking ridiculous then, and I bitched about it then the way I do now, except there was no internet for me to, really to bitch on like this. I didn't have a computer then in 96.
I'm sorry, dude. This was the most realistic moment of Rey Mysterio going against big guys. Getting the shit beat out of him by the Big Show, and then when they put him on the stretcher, Big Show picks the stretcher up with Rey strapped in and smacks him against the ring post. And then dropped him on his fucking face, still strapped to the fucking stretcher. God, we need to watch that, man. Totally worth the copyright.
I was gonna say Nash lawn darting Ray into the side of the trailer when the NWO was beating the fuck out of everybody. When Ray jumped off that white trailer staircase and Nash just caught him and went against the side of it.
Yeah.
I love that. That's that whole, like, remember was it Daniel Garcia? We watched Daniel Garcia come out, and it said dude was like 280 pounds and Garcia squashes him in like a minute, and it's like. And I know James is a huge Garcia fan. James is a huge Daniel Garcia fan because he mad at me, hung out with him. He's a nice guy. Cool, he's a nice guy. Needs to be wrestling fucking other 170 pound, 180 pound guys. That's where he belongs. He doesn't belong. The highlights of that MJF match that just angered me. I'm like, why they got to do MJF dirty like this? Like, yeah, he went over, but this shouldn't even be a contest against this cat if it's to be taken seriously.
I know.
And if it's to be taken seriously, I don't believe Ricochet and fucking Kyle Fletcher doing aggressive parkour for 20 uninterrupted seconds just so they can have video game pose downs.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here. That's why I said Ricochet's been over there for a month now in AEW. I figure after the Will Ospreay match, his shine will be off. He'll be mid card, lost in about another 2 to 3 months. He's got 4 to 5 months tops before Tony Khan gets a new toy and doesn't want to play with Ricochet anymore.
He's exciting. Opening of the card. Material. He's someone to come out and get the crowd hyped up to what will be a good show.
Yep, because you don't have to have microphone skills to be a hype man if you're just going to come out and flip around and get the crowd hot like they used to at the beginning of WCW with the Luchadors. The Luchadors weren't out there cutting promos. I don't need a promo out of Ricochet because Ricochet can't cut a fucking promo to save his life. He's god awful on the microphone.
Which means he can't reach the upper echelon.
No.
That's just what it is.
No.
And he's not the type. He's not a Brock Lesnar where you can have a Paul Heyman to speak for you because, again, he doesn't have the heavyweight physique for that.
No, and not to say that he's not good. Like I said, he's good at what he does. He has a good physique, but he's 208 pounds.
Now compare that to Logan Paul, who can cut a promo, who can keep up in the ring with a Ricochet or keep up in the ring with a Roman Reigns. That's more of the Logan Paul is more the Shawn Michaels style of, he may not be your conventional main eventer, but he checks too many boxes. He's too damn good at every aspect of this game that is important.
Yeah.
He's too damn good. The last time I saw anything like this was Kurt Angle. And Kurt Angle was an absolute anomaly. A year into the business, and he mastered every aspect that you need to master to step in the ring and defeat wrestlers who are at heights that most will never reach. The Rock, Triple H, Steve Austin, and Kurt Angle, Undertaker, Angle just right in with them.
Yep.
And that's what Logan Paul's done for himself.
Yeah. And Paul said, like the comments he made back and forth with Kevin Nash,
I do your job better than you do.
and fuck, man, if Logan Paul went full time and actually like became a full time worker, do you think he'd still be as popular as he is? I personally, I do. I honestly think he would kind of, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
His
Yeah.
his ceiling for potential is fucking limitless, honestly.
He would blow someone like Cody out of the water if he was weekly basis
Yep.
and you had to stack the two up against each other. And another thing I'd do, I would totally recreate Shawn Michaels and Diesel, and I would pair Omos with him as his bodyguard.
They haven't used Omos in forever.
I
Like,
know.
he's still on the roster.
Omos is perfect for you're not going to get a 20-minute epic out of Omos, but if you have him as a cocky son of a bitch like fucking Logan Paul as his bodyguard, that would work. And then the eventual split up 2 years down the line, that would work.
Yeah. And, you know, and that's the thing is like, if Triple H is the creative genius he claims to be, or is it the IWC that claims he's a creative genius? Because I don't see it. I don't see it. I honestly don't. And that's for
The
everybody that
honeymoon
says
era is
over.
going quick. Yeah.
Yeah, it's over. And you know, I always bag on AEW's ratings. Raw's ratings were down, SmackDown was down in viewers, but I don't know about this. I haven't seen the numbers from USA last night yet. I didn't have time today. You know, it was boat day. I didn't have time.
As
But
someone who stepped back, and I'm kind of on the sidelines of it now compared to like I used to be into wrestling. Like I was working for dirt sheets. I never missed anything. I knew all the backstage news. I knew who was coming, who was going. I knew everything, man. And now, as someone who's off on the sidelines, just kind of watching, there's been they let all the air out of the balloon at WrestleMania.
yeah,
Between Gunther losing his title, between Roman losing his title, between the cherry finally being popped with fucking Cody finishing the story, and which they had, I'm not a big fan of Cody, but they had people invested in that. So whatever works, it worked for them. But since then, it's been very low energy. Like they're trying to recapture something, but AJ Styles and Cody, again, AJ Styles, all the respect in the world for the man, but it wasn't a very exciting feud.
no.
And then you have Cody wrestle main eventing, two paper Money in the Bank, and then a one-on-one main event SummerSlam match with fucking Solo Sikoa, who is not a main eventer. And in fact, his match with John Cena last year kind of stunk out the joint. Like, it was bad. It was bad. Like, John Cena, even, complain about 5 moves of doom all you want. Even for a John Cena match, that was fucking bad. Because Cena can rise to the occasion when needed. That didn't happen. It's just, my point is, yeah, the honeymoon period is over. The air is out of the balloon. I get some people are invested in it, but honestly, until The Rock comes back for WrestleMania, there isn't much buzz going right now. And then you have Roman Reigns now, like, getting behind Cody, which makes zero sense. It just, I don't know, man.
I saw that on SmackDown, and Trey and I were both sitting there looking at each other like, that does not check. That does not pass the vibe check, man. What the fuck is that?
Because they're trying to capture excitement again, but there just isn't. There's no buzz anymore.
People are more hyped to see Roman come back. If they let Roman actually like go after the bloodline and not have fucking Cody, that's what up, Shifty Gism. Good to see you. Good to see you.
Yeah, I agree, Shifty.
Yep.
Like, there's always a bit of a lull in the fall, but this ain't that. I mean, they had WrestleMania, and then the Raw after WrestleMania, there was still a lot of buzz from the fallout. Since then, it feels like all I've been hearing is the Attitude Era is back from some people, not everyone.
No,
But
no.
oh man, wrestling is good again. It reminds me when I was a kid and this and that. But all I'm saying is I don't see it. And I even admit, again, not a big fan of Cody Rhodes, but there was a buzz heading into WrestleMania. There was, and you could feel it. You could feel the energy. All I'm saying is, since then, I haven't felt it. And that was way before fall. Like, and I get WrestleMania's peak season, but there just hasn't been much of a buzz because the chase is always better than the, conclusion when moonlighting or whatever, when Bruce Willis finally bangs the chick, it's like, yay, and then it's just not as good.
Anybody that's our age that was like Attitude Era type fans that say wrestling is back and all this, I have to go Russo on it. Bro, they are a fucking mark, bro. Like, there is no way, bro, you're looking at this product, bro, and saying this is Attitude. This is drawing 4-6 million viewers, bro. It's not fucking happening, bro, or they would be watching now. It's not happening. You know what I mean? It's not. This is nowhere. Like, there's nothing about any, and they're okay. There's some decent, there's a few decent things going on. Like, I know I'm going to catch flack for it, but I like the Wyatt Six. I do like that. The Nikki Cross thing aside, Tony, I like what they're doing with them because I like to see Bo. I like seeing Bo. He looks great. I like the way the production value of the vignettes is. And I struggle with this because I do yearn for the Mid-South Coliseum look with dim lights in the house. The lights are over the ring and, just an apron and some fucking rails, a nice little stage entryway and, some fucking, that look, that aesthetic. But I do like the presentation of the Wyatts, which I know it doesn't jive with that, but some of those angles, like, and they're not really, I don't know. The supernatural thing is it's still there lightly, but Dexter Loomis and Joe Gacy that are in there, I think they've looked really well in their matches. And one thing I did notice, and we were watching, I can't remember what it was. We were watching, and there was everybody standing away. It was an AEW match the other night. This is another pet peeve of mine, especially with these like 6-man and 8-man matches, is everybody standing and waiting or kneeling and waiting, kneeling around the apron. It looks fucking god awful. It looks god awful when you've got your, guys that aren't involved in the match. They're not selling. They're just taking a knee. It looks fucking terrible on television.
Yeah.
That's why those matches are a clusterfuck. Always.
And can I say, like, one thing with the Wyatt Six? Like, I don't have an issue with them, and I'm actually glad they're being used at some point because the House of Black in AEW was completely fucking wasted, man. Like, the booking of the House of Black was so infuriating that it's good to at least see the Wyatt Six get some play and not like again, I don't like when they lay everybody out backstage and you've got the lights strobing and it's like, oh my God, the Wyatt Six is here. And, 3 hours later, they're uploading pictures from Wendy's with fans that, I could go without that. But, to Shifty Gizm's point, and yeah, the Attitude Era, personally, I don't want it to come back. It was a special moment in time, but, it was compelling television. And a lot of people say, oh, well, the ratings aren't what they used to be, but people are watching on YouTube. And to an extent, that's true. But when TV is so compelling that you feel you can't miss it, And that's how wrestling was in the 90s. Like, 8, 9 o'clock hit, you were tuning in. And maybe it would have been a little different had we had YouTube back then or whatever. But when a compelling show jumps on a streaming network, people are running to watch it, and as soon as possible, so they don't get spoiled. They don't want to jump on YouTube to hear reviews and just, well, the new season of this comes out and it's a really good show, but I'm just gonna listen to some clips on YouTube, listen to a review and see what happens. What's up, Adega? How you
Hey,
doing, sir?
Adega. Good to see you,
So
brother. Have a great night.
that's basically, at the end of the day, through all of our bitching and complaining about modern day product, that's all I want is just compelling television, a compelling story, something that makes me feel like I have to tune in. I have to watch as it's live because it's so compelling. I don't want it spoiled for me. I don't want to see clip, or maybe I'll watch a clip on YouTube, but that's because I watched the show live and that was so fucking awesome. I need to see it again,
Yep.
Unfortunately, it's just, that hasn't been wrestling in a long time, in my opinion, decades now.
Well, yeah, some of the shows I've reviewed, I didn't watch. I wouldn't watch the whole show because I'd have Trey would watch it, and when I was getting ready to do my review, I would watch the 10 to 17-minute highlight video on YouTube, and then I'll read like a rundown of the show, what happened, and then I'll write my review. Because it's like, well, they've already highlighted the bullet points for me. I'm like, I can cover, and I'll read, okay, so there was a match that didn't make the air, so I'll look up some footage and see if it needs to be like gag reel material. Like there's matches on the card that I won't even fucking cover. Like I like the Nepos and the Lesbos, I gave that match like 15 seconds. I think I talked about it, maybe 25, maybe 20 to 25, but no more than that. I'm like, there's promo. I don't really, unless there's a big promo, like I'm just like, meh. I can tell you if it's going to affect anything, I'll cover it. But half the time it just is like I'm not going to spend a minute to 2 minutes talking about a Pure Fusion Collective promo. Like, where the fuck are they going to go with it? They're not going anywhere with that. What who in development or whatever, you know what I mean? Triple H is the chief content officer. That means that name went through him. He ultimately approved that and was like, yeah, that's a great idea. Like that had to get his stamp of approval. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it blows my fucking mind. And I'm glad we're kind of talking about WWE because, like I said, I get called an e-drone all the time because I just hate on AEW. And it's like, if the product lived up to the potential that it has, AEW is playing like Disney now. Oh my God, we're always under attack. We're victims. Oh my God. I'm like,
with AEW, dude. I don't want to dislike AEW. I'm sorry.
I don't either.
Cut you off, dude. It's just there's so much potential. But it's like every time a golden opportunity comes their way, they make the wrong move. Or they play it down, or they don't do anything with, again, House of Black, dude. Malachi Black was so over when he debuted. I mean, he was fucking over. And they just squandered him and put him in trios matches where he's getting the shit kicked out of him by the Acclaimed. Like, guys, like, what are you doing? And that's just one example. Again, MJF's first title run where they had no opponent set up for him, so they basically turned him into a mid-card comedy act with Adam Cole when he should have been on this like monstrous heel run.
Yep. Dude.
I don't hate AEW because, oh, well, I'm a Fed mark and it's my team versus your team. I want the industry to be healthy. I want the industry to be a buzz. I want all of these promotions to do the best job they possibly can, where I'm torn between them. Where it's like, okay, well, this week I've got to give it to AEW, you know. This week I've got to give it to the Fed, but instead they're both just at the end of the day kind of turnoffs for me. Again, there's nothing compelling. There's nothing telling me you better tune in tonight or you're gonna miss out.
Yeah. No, you perfectly encapsulated what both Raw and SmackDown and Dynamite are now. Like AEW, yeah, I look at it the same way you do. It angers me because there's so many talented performers there. There's so much ability and potential, and it's squandered because the owner is a petulant child. That's the bottom line, is he doesn't want anybody to be in charge of the toys in his toy box. And
No.
he books it like an E-Fed. And he doesn't like big guys because he's insecure, you know. And I want to talk about this because I've got the ratings, Meltzer's 5-star ratings. Thank you, Tony. The hypodermic needle spot at the pay-per-view made me not want to watch AEW. It's too, hey, look how edgy we are, in the most soulless manner ever. It didn't feel organic like ECW. Thank you, Shifty Gizm. That's a perfect point. I was a big ECW guy. Once I discovered that company, I was enthralled with it. I loved that style. And then I got into the wrestling business and I was like, I will never do that. Fuck that. Because I see what it does to the guys, and having, met a couple of the ECW cats and hung out with them, one of them being Sabu, who I cannot stand. I thought that shit was insane. That's why I never, we did a few, we did some big spots, but they were very few and far between. And the only time our rule was the only time we're going to do a big spot, something hardcore like that, is the blow off to a feud. That's it. That's the only time you use shit like that, but again, that's psychology. This Adam, one more thing. This Adam Page and Swerve, and I love Swerve. Don't get me wrong. I'm a huge Swerve Strickland fan. Dude he's one of them, like him. He's up there with MJF. Absolutely. There was no reason for that spot, or what was the brick, giving him the fucking gimmick on the brick. It's like, do you realize if you do that wrong at all, you're paralyzing or killing this dude? Like, is that what it's going to take for AEW to realize that something is not right? Have a great night, Fallon. Good to see you, girl. Thank you. Thank you for being here. That's, I don't want to see. I don't like Adam Page. I can't stand him in the ring and his persona, because I don't buy him as tough. I don't buy him at all. But I don't want to see the man get hurt. I don't want to see him get injured, and these spots, there's no, that was edgelord. That was backyard wrestling.
Well, it's a pattern. Because wasn't it just a couple months? Was it Sting's last match where they had Darby flip over the ropes into the glass or whatever? Yeah. And everyone was complaining about that too. And before that, it's Sammy Guevara on just a random episode of Dynamite, not a blow off to a feud or a heated feud, or it was a multi-man match, whether it's multi-tag match or a big ladder match for no reason or whatever it was, where Sammy I can't call it a 450 or a shooting star or any that he just did some weird flip off of the ladder for absolutely no reason and almost snapped his fucking neck.
No,
you have homeboy, fucking BLM homeboy, who propellered his foot at that Ring of Honor pay-per-view. And then there was the big controversy when Nick Gage, or whatever his name is, came in and was using a pizza cutter on someone's forehead right before Little Caesars, their sponsor, ran a commercial.
Yep.
It's a pattern at this point, and it's like, again, like Shifty Gism was mentioning, like, it's not organic like ECW. Every time they do something like this, it just feels contrived and fake.
Mm-hmm.
It's a pattern.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, this is what happens when you let the inmates run the asylum, and there's no adults in the room, or the adults in the room are told, "You be quiet, you're old." Because that's about the amount of respect they get backstage from the talent here. And that Sammy Guevara spot, that was we were watching Dynamite Wednesday, this past Wednesday,
Yeah,
when he was wrestling.
one.
He was wrestling Ricochet, and he climbed up on top of the entrance, and he flipped on the stage and almost broke his fucking leg.
Yeah, with a newborn at home now, right?
Yeah, him and Tay have a newborn child. Yeah. And that's this. You're doing this, like you said. There's no reason to do it. It's a random episode of Dynamite. What are you doing this high risk spot? Neither of you are like hardcore. Like I don't know. Was Sammy a hardcore? I don't think he was ever a hardcore guy. Ricochet's not.
He just does stupid shit and almost breaks his neck all the time because he doesn't have the talent to do it.
Yeah, it didn't make sense to me. It's like, why? What is this? What is this for? What are you doing? Like, Jesus.
Like, I know Vinny will bring up like a guy died in the ring with Rey Mysterio in Mexico. I don't know the story behind that, or if it was the guy's fault or Rey's, but all I know is through 30 years of work, Rey Mysterio can pull these moves off without almost killing himself or his opponent.
Yeah.
Sammy Guevara can't do that. That's not, not saying he can't be a wrestler, but that's just not his niche. Like he almost, and eventually he's gonna fucking hurt himself or somebody else. Like way too many close calls.
Yeah, you're taking unnecessary risks is the problem. You don't want to put your body in jeopardy like that. It's not worth it for a random match. Build to that, make people pay for it. That's the problem. You got to make people pay for this. Make them buy the pay-per-view to get to see you do shit like that. Make it make sense, and dollars. That's the most important thing. I'm going to share this here. These are let's take a look here at Uncle Dave's ratings for All Out. Hang on a second. Do I have an Uncle Dave graphic? There he is.
5 stars down the card.
Here's Uncle Dave. All right, let's go over here. We'll look at this. Like I said, I watched clips of this. The pre-show, the Acclaimed defeated Iron Savages, 1/4 star, 1 1/4 star. Hologram, that's a ridiculous character. Sammy Guevara and Dustin Rhodes defeated the Premier Athletes, 2 3/4 stars. The Gangbang Gang and Juice Robinson defeated Dark Order. I didn't even know why they're still a thing. 2 3/4 stars. The Undisputed Kingdom, I like them. Roderick Strong, yeah, he's like Slasher mentioned that he's like the modern day Dean Malenko. There's very, very heavy parallels in their work and what it looks like between those two. If you take out if you take the goofy gimmick away, you know what I mean? When he was doing the Adam, which I found hilarious. It was just ruining the MJF thing, though, that really I didn't like. But anyway, they defeated the Beast Mordos and Shane Taylor Promotions. Lee Moriarty's another one. I like him. That dude he's very fucking talented. and Action Andretti in Top Flight.
It's just such an indie name, Lee Moriarty.
Oh, very, very. That's not a guy who's ever gonna, you can see Scott Hall as your world champion. Lee Moriarty, not so much. I don't know. You know what I mean?
No.
3-3. All right, here's the main card. MJF defeating Garcia. 1, 2, 4.5 stars. 4.5 stars for that. That seems a bit high. You should pull up some of his highest WWE ratings, and we'll compare them, because that's 4.5 stars. The AEW World Tag Team Title match, the Young Bucks, Matt and Nikki defeated the Blackpool Combat Club, Claudio and Wheeler, 4 stars. Wow, why did Dave give him such a low rating? Doesn't that seem low for Matt and Nick for a Bucks match?
Yeah, I was gonna say the Bucks must have slapped Dave's mother or something.
Let's see. Next we have the Intercontinental AEW Intercontinental title match. Ospreay defeated Pac. Yep, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5.5 stars. Jesus fucking Christ, dude.
So now that's broken the glass ceiling of 5 stars, huh?
Oh my God. Oh my God. Why does he want, has Dave just came out and told Will Ospreay that he wants to have intercourse with him yet? See a gap.
And not just that, why is it the AEW Intercontinental title now?
I thought it was the Continental title.
Well, it says AEW Intercontinental title.
I know. I thought I read it wrong.
Oh,
I wasn't sure if I should acknowledge it or just no sell it.
no, we need to acknowledge that. I thought it was the international title or something, but I haven't watched in a long time.
That's what it is. It's the international title.
The Intercontinental title.
That's a good typo there. Yeah. Chicago Street Fight. Chris Statlander with Stokely Hathaway defeated Willow Nightingale. 4 3/4 stars. Jesus fucking Christ. That's almost 5 stars for that match, Tony.
Well, it was Stokely Hathaway. She was the 3/4 in that 4 3/4.
Stokely's a tiny black man. That's even funnier. Fucking, oh my God. Statlander, they were using glass tubes, and Statlander did the splits on thumbtacks or some shit.
See, as soon as you bring glass into it, glass tubes, glass anything, I don't care if it's fucking sugar glass, it's a 0 from me.
Yeah.
I hate glass in wrestling. I hate that.
Nope, it's stupid. It is. It's ridiculous. It's indie. Oh, wait. I can do this. I think I have it. We have the meme. Here we go. That's what the fuck it is right there.
Yeah.
Just outlaw mud show shit. It just
like, yeah, like it's a very subjective thing on my end, of course. I don't know if that's fair that you get 0 stars from me for introducing glass. I don't like glass in wrestling. It doesn't interest me at all.
No, I'm not. I don't need that shit.
I grew up again watching Mick Foley and Soft. I don't know. It's just,
bro. I was a huge ECW fan, but I didn't just like ECW for the hardcore shit. Yeah, I was a fan of New Jack and Sandman, but that was never something I wanted to do.
Heyman's a great mind for the business, and so's Tommy Dreamer, to be honest.
Oh, yes. Yeah, but this match was not a 4 3/4 star match. The AEW Continental title,
So we
Kazuchika
had the
Okada.
Intercontinental earlier, right? So now it's the
Yep.
Continental. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So this is the champion Kazuchika Okada defeated Mark Briscoe, which he's the ROH World Champion, Orange Cassidy, and Konosuke Takeshita with Don Callis, 4 1/4 stars.
Man.
Tony's happy.
Dave's, yeah, that's his happy face. Dave has a complete, like, what he looks for in wrestling is a complete 180 from what I look for.
Dude, I don't. He wants that Japanese style to be the main style over here so bad, and it's never going to happen.
Fuck that, dude. Like,
it's never going to happen. You know, Meltzer is out of touch, and he thinks he's in the business. He does.
Yeah.
He thinks he has, he's a great recorder of history, but it's
his,
I don't know, I wouldn't try to tell people like that if I say that something as far as wrestling is bad, I am not saying it's bad out of like a personal bias against it, or you know what I mean? I'm saying this is objectively not good, and these are the reasons why. You know what I mean?
Dave Meltzer is getting high on the power that his opinion is actually affecting something in the business now. Because it does affect AEW.
It does.
They do put stock into it, and he's getting high off of that.
Mm-hmm.
He went from a dirt sheet writer to actually affecting something in the industry.
Yeah, because these guys work for his star ratings now, and they do things that they know he'll pop for. So he'll be on his show, and hang on, let me put there. He'll be like, Brian, and it doesn't matter that nobody watched the show, Brian. Ratings don't matter, Brian. They did 450s, Brian. There was 2, Brian. Listen. It makes sense. It doesn't matter who's a heel and who's a face, Brian. He's a fucking jabbering idiot. And I'm exaggerating it, but like if you listen to him talk on his podcast, that's what the fuck he sounds like. And it's like, he's been doing it for what, 30 years. That's why his words carry so much weight. But I never took Dave Meltzer seriously.
Never.
Like
I took Wade Keller's opinion with more weight than Dave Meltzer's.
Is that Pro Wrestling Torch?
Yeah.
Yeah. They've been around for a long time too.
Yeah.
I mean, Wrestling Observer has, but I just never put any, when I, learned about the Dave Meltzer, history and everything. And it's just like, fucking, so this guy's never been in the business, he's just a guy who wrote about wrestling. And, I don't know. You can't take him seriously. Like I said, you'd never step through that curtain, bud. I'm speaking about Dave here. For his voice to carry that much weight and somebody who's never worked in the business is what I mean. It's hard to believe that people, especially inside the business, take his shit that seriously. It's to the detriment of the
Well,
business as a whole.
it's because they're not just booking for Dave Meltzer's entertainment. Tony Khan books for his ego. He's not booking for what makes money because I've gone over this before, but he's not hungry. He doesn't need this to succeed. He just wants his own pet project. You know, he's going to be fine. He's going to eat no matter what. Yeah. He just wants his own pet project. He wants to cosplay as Vince McMahon, basically. But he's not going to do what it takes to truly grow his business or make it profitable or anything. He just wants to say, hey, I'm a wrestling promoter because he's a spoiled, rich, underdeveloped, rich kid.
Mm-hmm. What up, Brutal? Hell, brother. Shifty made a
Like
good
I
point.
said,
What's that,
sorry.
brother? No,
No, I
what's
was
up?
just going to say he's like the guy who owned the strip club that I managed for years. He was a multimillionaire. He just wanted to say, hey, I own a strip club. And he'd make decisions that were bad for business all the time, but he didn't care that they were bad for business. It's just no, because this is what I want. And it didn't matter if the club was successful or not. So,
Yeah.
same thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been, I've been a promoter. And you're hungry and you wanted to succeed, and we ran for a year and we lost money, and we put on good shows. We always made sure our shows were booked well. We paid all our boys, and nobody walked away empty-handed, even if we lost money. You know what I mean? I remember the very last show we ran, I went because we didn't have enough money to pay out. And James wasn't involved in this one. It was just me and Gary. And we didn't have enough money to pay the guys. And I was 3 sheets to win. And I told, me and the wife were only dating at the time. I said, hey, I need you to take me to the ATM up the street. She's like, why? I said, take me to the fucking ATM. So went up the street and I took out about $100, and I fucking paid 3-4 of the guys and gave them, money for trans, fucking gas money, flipped them each something. And I said, here's, gas for the fucking car, thanks for coming. I wasn't going to let them not get paid. She kind of yelled at me. I'm like, no, fuck that. Like, we're not paying out of what we drew at the door. That's fucking side, that's aside from that. But shit, it's not a big deal. That's what you do though. You got to pay your fucking roster. You know what I mean?
Yep, take care of that because they're the ones making it happen. You don't have a show without your roster.
Yep. But let's see here. Did you have to step for a minute?
Yeah, I'm gonna step away for a couple minutes. I gotta walk the old puppers.
All right. I got you. Well, hang on. We can. Well, yeah. Go ahead, bro. I got it.
Let me see the rest of these ratings
Okay.
real quick.
All right. We can probably just wrap up after that. Then we've been going 2 hours.
Sure.
All right. So we got the TBS title match. Mercedes draws no money, defeats Hikaru Shida. Wow, Dave is hard on her. 2 3/4 stars.
Dave Meltzer hates diversity. Confirmed.
Confirmed, bro. This is a diverse match right here. And he shat on it, Tony. And rightfully so, as he should have. It's Mercedes Moan and Hikaru Shida. I like Shida, but Mercedes Monet, she's Sasha Botchfest Banks. I've never liked her. She's terrible. Yeah.
Doesn't Brian Alvarez kind of sound like Ben Shapiro?
Yes, he does. Brian Alvarez, how you doing? Here with Wrestling Observer Radio. World title, AEW world title match. Bryan Danielson defeats Jack Perry.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
1, 2, 3, 4 3/4 stars.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
What is that? Like a combined weight of like 278 pounds?
Yeah, I think so. Brian Veganson and Jack Perry. Yeah. Yeah, they're really trying. They really thought they did something there with Jack Perry. My God. 4 3/4 stars for this match, Tony.
Jesus Christ. You've been Meltzer-fied. I just imagine, like, at the end of the Perry Danielson match, it's like that South Park where fucking Randy's just loaded in cum. The whole fucking room has cum, and he's by the computer. You know, he finally got on the internet. You know, he's not. They were at that like refugee camp looking for internet. It's a meme too, where he's just laid back in the chair looking all pleasured, and there's just cum exploded all over the room. That was Dave Meltzer at the end of this match.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Hold on, let me see if I can find it. Let me see if I can find that. Yeah, here we go. This was Dave Meltzer at the end of the fucking match.
Yeah.
Jesus. We gotta transpose. We gotta make that the new AEW banner. We'll transpose Dave Meltzer's face onto Randy's body, throw a little cum all over his face too, and we'll be good to go.
Oh my God. So on that note, I guess we can wrap up with the thought of Dave Meltzer covered in semen after watching Jack Perry and Brian Danielson battle it out. Oh, fucking A. Tony, this was fun, man.
Yeah, it was, man. I hope I can be on a little more during the week next week. They actually scheduled me for some days off. So, pending the fact that they don't, call me at 10 in the morning on my day off and ask me to come in, which they will. Yeah, hopefully I can jump on a couple shows this upcoming week.
Excellent, man. Excellent. Yeah, we got a big week coming up. We got Nitro on Monday, episode 24. Tuesday, we're reviewing the Town That Dreaded Sundown from 1976. And Wednesday, live Crow commentary for 2024. That's going to be a fucking dumpster fire. Yeah.
The new Crow?
Yeah, the new one.
Oh, Jesus.
Yep. We're gonna watch that. And I got to get a hold of Jeff because he was he said he wanted to watch that with me because he knows I'm gonna he's like, I can't wait to hear you shit on this. So that's kind of a request. So we're gonna do that next Wednesday. And then after that we'll be back to some old horror or some schlock, and then every Wednesday in October will be a different horror movie, which we're going to have to we'll have to do some selection here because we've got a couple weeks for that. So yeah, the Halloween 5 review will be out Monday on Patreon for Patreon backers, subscribers, whatever you want to. The Brain Busters on Patreon, that'll be over there for you, and that will be released publicly in October. So if you want to get that early Halloween 5 review, and also over on patreon.com/wrestling with horror 420, you'll be able to get the entire my Thorn trilogy review. Will be done in omnibus style, along with I got to release another trailer, Tone, for the re-edits on the Andy Sedaris movies. But that's enough out of us. I'll stop yapping, or I'll keep going. But thank you, everybody, for joining us. Thank you, everybody in the chat. Shifty Gism, Godzillionaire, Brutal Morningwood, Gap After Dark, Fallon Talks, Adega. Thank you guys. We appreciate you being here. Have a great Saturday night, everybody. It was good to be back for Saturday night's main event. We will see you live again Monday night, 8:35 Eastern, right here on Wrestling with Horror.